Okay, so we're taking a look at OHA here, and I'm just going to do a couple of quick changes here. There was a little bit of trouble going on with the widgets, the way that they're set up in here. Oh shoot, that's set up the wrong way from what it was originally. Okay, this is how it was set up originally. It was like this. Let me reload this page, and there we go. Okay, so the logo is on the left side. This is a different logo than you put in there. This is their new logo, and then the menu is on the right side. And so it looks roughly right, but then we get into some trouble when we're trying to make further changes to this. And so what I would expect to do is to go in here and see that this widget is floating to the left, the simple image, and then that this one would be either floating to the left or possibly floating to the right. But one or the other, it'd be floating somewhere, and unless it was meant to be centered the whole time, which in this case it's going to be going all the way to the right. But and if it was centered, then it would be in line block. But anyway, then we want it to be floating one way or the other here on these things, and then they're not, and so then there's confusion as to what's making them go where they need to go. Well, what's happened then is you've gone in at a deeper level and made them change position on that basis. And so then for this simple image, you can see it doesn't even select it over here. And so then we go down, and it's part of the image here. And so you've done float left with a margin left of -405, and that does work ultimately to get it into its place, but it's awkward. And so we've gotten down to this more specific level of going to the image and controlling it directly instead of controlling the widget as a whole. And so we want to always be controlling the largest part of it that we can to accomplish our desired effect. And the reason why we want that is because we want to be able to have control over lower element parts if we need to, and because we end up getting into some weird situations here and then where we can't have them naturally float back and forth as we need to make changes to them. So then my first thought was, as I was going through this, is okay, I just need to remove that, and so I'll uncheck that, and then I come up here, and then I will make this float, make the first one float to the left, make the second one float to the right, and then it got confusing, and this is why, because I thought we were just doing a left-right floating thing here, and then it didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. But that's because these are set up in the opposite order, and I assume it was some point along the way with some confusion over how to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in the first place, then that was able to get you there. Probably that's what it was. Maybe you just got it wrong in the first place. But basically, things on top are going to be things that are more to the left, things on the bottom more to the right. In general, that's how you want to approach it. It doesn't have to be that way, but it's much more natural to do it that way. And so then we want to reload this, and it's still looking roughly right, but not really still what we actually need it to be. And so we want to go in and remove this here. I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay. I don't think did we have anything on this? I think we did. I don't think we have anything else on this right now. I don't think that was left over. Just some text line right, which doesn't really matter. Okay, no, we're good now. So we go into here. You can do it from right here down in the widget area thing. I end up normally more typically going here, but it really doesn't matter. Okay, so we have site header.widget nth child 1, and that's going to be our logo. And so we're going to say float left, and then we're going to have number 2, and we're going to have it float right, and it's not looking at all correct right now, and that's because we have this still left over, and we always want to make the title area be display none, and then that's right, and there's something else left over. We want to get rid of this floating at all. I don't think there's any reason we would need to have that floating. Now we're getting closer. And then our width, I don't see any reason we need to constrain the width whatsoever. And now we're back to a place where it's much more reasonable to be controlling this. And so now when I hover over this, I see, that's over there on the left, that's over there on the right. Everything is looking like it should. That should be just about right. And then we also, let's see, this wrap here is at 1140. I've switched over to going to something more like 1500 pixels unless there's a particular reason not to. And really the main reason why is because I'm using a really big screen now, and so then it makes me feel better to be able to go all the way out here. But you can do 1140. I think that was just there by default, so that wasn't like that was a choice by you anyway. So that's how we get those set up correctly. You can let me know if you have any questions about that. That's the basic concept, though. If you have trouble with something like that in the future, you can always go back and look at the code from one of these sites as well as a reference, or if that's not sufficient, then you can talk to me, and if that's not sufficient, then you can pray to God or something. You should pray to God anyway, but there we go. Okay, I'm going to copy this and save it, and that's all for now.